So like most countries around the world, Nepal also went through a pandemic. Initially, the infection rates were fairly low, but it gradually became serious. And by that time, the government of Nepal chose to impose infection control measures like lockdowns. So one of the sectors that was severely affected was public transportation. Public transportation sector in particular is very important for any recovery of the economy. And so in that respect, this research tried to do two things. One was to assess what was the economic damage on the sector, on the public transportation sector. And second was to explore ways of opening up the sector safely. The government has virtually no investments, no assets in the public transportation sector of Nepal. It only regulates the sector. All the investments come from the private sector. What that meant was that the private sector needed to sense that the market is back again. And at that time, because people were not getting out of their homes, they were working from home, the commuter load in the city was very low. So it was getting very difficult for private players to come out and ply their buses and other modes of vehicles. So we at that point felt that it is important for us to investigate what are the ways in which we can enhance the public safety perception on public transportation systems and how we can increase the commuter load and demand. So this research looked at both ends. It looked at how the sector can be revived economically and what economic assistance packages would be best for the purpose of recovering the sector, and also to look into what measures individual operators, the government and other stakeholders can take in order to resume the operation of public transportation system. The other feature of Nepali public transportation system is that it has a vehicle mix of quite a variety. There are buses, there are three-wheelers, there are microbuses, there are motorcycle taxis, and there are regular cab taxis. So we also wanted to evaluate in relative terms which of the vehicles is riskier than the other. So we thought that there should be ways of infection-related risk for passengers as they take these vehicles. Incidentally, motorcycle taxis are the safest, and this has been talked about elsewhere in the world too, because you have this headwind coming into you, and that creates an environment of very good ventilation. By the same measure, some of the smaller buses with small cabin size and low ventilation were determined to be more risky. And so we have made recommendations in order to improve the infection control measures within such vehicles, and also advocated for promoting vehicles that are accepted by the public and also is safe from an epidemiological angle. The point of view of how relevant this research is for the region or for the wider world, we feel that the type of vehicle mix that Nepal has is fairly similar to other South Asian countries. For instance, Bangladesh comes to mind, India comes to mind, and to a certain extent even Sri Lanka comes to mind. So the research that we've conducted should be useful to at least some parts of South Asia, if not the broader Asia.